also live on Comcast Channel 26. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with our producer, Alden Iwani. Our special guest today is Hot Springs boys coach Derek Bean, the 3A champs beating San Diego Prep on Thursday 45-43, his second championship in his very young career. And Coach, thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me, Ed. Excited. I know I always give you a hard time. I'm like, man, hey, what do I got to do to get on this show? And watching it, love seeing it. I'm like, man, show some love for those little guys down here.
Absolutely. When I saw you at Bernalillo at the semifinal game against Navajo Prep, we're going to get to that. What a physical game. And I had the best seat in the house as a PA announcer. I'm right there. So I saw some really good basketball. But I got to say this, Coach, and I think you're a fantastic young coach. And I told you the other day, the journey has just begun, right? 2 championships. Lost in the semis last year to Bosque Prep. And things happen, right? We talk about the breaks of the game, the calls sometimes, injuries. But I got to say this, though. Talk about this 10-game winning streak. You did lose to Magdalena. Now, Magdalena, no shame there. Magdalena, the 2A champ. They beat Melrose. Melrose had won, 2 championships in a row. So Magdalena, 3 championships. I thought they were going to win again. I really did. So Magdalena breaking that. After that, you reel off 10 wins. But talk about what it was, because you weren't even sure. There's some COVID-19 protocols that had to be followed. You weren't even sure your season was going to continue. 6 games in 6 days. The Tigers got it done. A huge accomplishment. This championship here, you're going to probably win some more. You'll never forget any of them. But 6 games in 6 days. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was super crazy. I've got to give a huge shout out, thank you to my athletic director, Alicia DeGase, for allowing this to even be possible. I also want to give thanks to our other athletic directors in our district. Without them coming together and us having an opportunity to even compete I could never give that back. I could never thank them enough, because I don't know how I was going to be able to walk into a locker room and tell my boys, we're done, and I mean, holy cow, you look at it and you get that taken from you. It was the worst feeling in the world, honestly. I mean, it was worse than losing any game. It was worse than anything, because it was out of our control. We couldn't, there was nothing we could do about it. But our ADs in our district, they worked together. They came up with a plan, 6 straight days to get through our district. Told the boys when I sent them that message, I said, hey, we're back on. Good news is we're playing. Bad news is we're playing 6 straight days. They were like, what? I said, it's that or we're done. 6 days it is, coach. 6 days it is. And, I'm proud of every one of my kids. They stepped up. There were some aches and pains coming through it. We survived, though. We survived the gauntlet. And that's what we named it, was the gauntlet. And we survived it.
I have to laugh because I remember the movie The Gauntlet. You might be a little too young to remember Clint Eastwood driving in with that bus and all these cops waiting to shoot him. So I had to laugh about that, because it was a gauntlet. You think about it, what a challenge, right? Now, the other thing, Coach, conditioning-wise, talk about that a little bit, because remember, we're working out in pods of 5, and the conditioning may not have been as good as we want it to be, but 6 games, and that's the NBA doesn't even do that. The NBA was back-to-back. They've stopped a lot of that, by the way. Used to be a lot more back-to-back in the NBA, and they've stopped a lot of that. The NBA doesn't do that. The college doesn't do that. No school that I know of. So it was quite a challenge. And your guys, as you mentioned, stepped up to it. Talk about some of the challenges of that challenge, because it was huge.
Well, I think it starts with leadership in your program. And I had 2 seniors out of my 6 that, they've been in this program since they were freshmen, on the varsity squad. And, number 15, Rails Luckman, and number 20, Nathan Salcido, they both took the reins. We got shut down, and they're like, Coach, what are we able to do? I said, we can't get in the gym. We can't do anything. We're sitting on our hands. We can't do nothing. Well, Coach, what if we go run? I said, I can't stop you from going to run. You need to run, but I can't organize it. I can't do anything like that. It's got to come from you. And self-discipline runs very high in our program. And so, the boys, they took it upon themselves to knowing that we're about to take on a challenge that probably nobody in this state has ever done. and they embraced it. And you know, we just got to reap the benefits of all their hard work.
Gosh, again, yes, 6 games in 6 days when it looked like it might be shut down. You're the 3A state champions, and we're going to go to some highlights here in a second, not right now, but a fantastic finish to that game against Sandia Prep. Jackson Fight hits that corner three. I'm sitting
Huge
way up
three.
there. What a shot that was, right? What a shot. You
It
got
was money.
7.7 seconds left. 7.7. I looked at the clock. What was your message to your team in the huddle with 7? You've got the ball on the other end of the court, right? You didn't advance it. It's on the other end. So what was the play call in the huddle?
Well, you know, we were sitting there, and I kind of caught myself off guard. You know, the shot goes up. I said, "That's a good looking shot," and it sliced the net. And I went, "Oh, I got to call timeout." Boom, get one. You know, so it was get there, then it was hurry up and think. You know, we had a play designed for it, but at the same time, the way the game was flowing, we were very successful getting to the rack. Obviously, you saw we were struggling to hit any outside shot. So we definitely didn't want to take one of those. It was, you know, it was just kind of the storybook ending. A kid that, you know, had made a living off of free throws going through his career. Why not put it in his hands? Why not give us the best opportunity? The kid is great at going to the hoop. It was Lukeman, grab the ball and go. Grab the ball and go. You know they're going to come after you. Do your thing. And you know, we were happy, we were blessed to get the whistle, and he knocked him down. There were two big shots that, I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, you know, he had that opportunity and he actually missed when we had that whole technical. So he flat out told me, "Coach, it ain't happening again. This was my time." And he got it done. You could see it in his eyes. You could feel it in the timeout. And as we came out, just let him know how much I loved him, and win, lose or draw, you know, I was proud of him and everything that we survived through, but you could see it in his eyes. There was no way that ball wasn't going to the net.
A moment made for a senior like Barrows Lukeman. You mentioned that. He's a clutch player, your best players, no question about it. He struggled shooting, only 3 of 15 from the field that day, but the players are going to make plays, and he did when you needed it the most. And I think, again, the challenge of having to play all those games, what kind of feeling will this team have 30 years from now when you reunite at the pit for the celebration? What kind of feeling will that be? Because it'll all soak in later during the summer when they're vacationing and enjoying their time off. They'll look back and they'll think, "Man, wow, you know, when it's all said and done, you're in the moment, and sometimes you don't get to enjoy it." Then you step away and you're thinking, "Man, 6 games in 6 days, and we won them all, and we won the championship." Those kind of feelings, Coach, they last a lifetime.
No, absolutely. And, you know, at the completion of Friday, that actually ended up being 9 out of 12. So we did get a couple rest days, you know, but, you know, I one thing they had already told me, "Coach, we don't got to take any more ice baths." We kind of got into it, you know, trying to keep them recuperated. The nutrition was huge. Members in our community did an amazing job of stepping up, ensuring that the boys ate well, drank well, bodies were taken care of. But yeah, we kind of talked about it. Like, what a crazy 12 days it ended up being. The ice baths, for sure. It was, there's some good videos we've got of them coming in for the first time. Definitely memories that'll last forever.
You know, it's important to note too that people would think 16, 18-year-old kids don't get sore, they don't get tired. Their bodies, 6 games in 6 days is a lot for anybody. But you played, I played, and that kind of soreness there, you wear it with the badge. You wake up and you're like, "Oh man, I remember." You remember too, but man, you can't get enough of it. You want more, right? Now, 6 games is a bit much. I would say that, even for someone that loves the game the way that I do. But those are the kind of soreness that, and then you won. You took home the blue trophy for the second time in 3 years. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, you know, the boys, they were determined. You could feel it, you know, halfway through district, it was the eye of the tiger. It was on. You could see it that they were putting forth the effort, and they weren't going to settle for anything less. And yet again, I mean, you just kind of saw the way they fought. You know, everybody said they were too little, they couldn't do it, that the advantage was solely in Sandia Prep's corner. And you know, one thing I'm very proud of my kids is when you tell them they can't, they're going to do it. And if they don't do it right away, they're going to keep going until they do it. And that's something, a testament that they're going to be able to carry on in life. And I know they're going to be in good hands.
When you win 2 championships like that, I don't think you ever forget that, right? What it took to get there, especially any championship run. We talked about that the other day, Coach, has some adversity. And I think it's always good to have some, because I always want to know, where does my team lie? Where are we? How did we respond? And when everything is good, everybody's happy, right? But we throw in some adversity, and how did we respond? And you threw in some major adversity that had nothing to do with you, or the Tigers had nothing to do with you. And look how they responded. And that's something, again, a testament to your program.
No, for sure. You know, we always say, trust the process, put we over me, and fall in love with defense. And that's kind of been our three things to hang our hat on. And these kids have really adopted it. It's become a culture, and it's starting to expand in our school. You're starting to see it in other programs now, which is exciting, because these kids put forth so much effort. And like you said, the adversity, there's adversity every day in life. You're going to come through it. You know, you're going to get good times, you're going to get bad times. Not everything's going to be red roses and ice cream. So, you know, we take that moment from when we took our smacking from Magdalena and ate our humble pie real well, and just looked forward. Then obviously COVID happened, and the schedule, what else are you going to do? You can't cry about it. You got to just face it, conquer it. Don't run away. Just face it like a man, and let the results be the results.
I think having some championship players on your roster definitely helped. They've been through that walk before, that grind.
100%.
They knew what it took. They knew, and that helped senior leadership. You talked about that, and Veros Lukman and Nathan Saucedo are huge parts of that, and setting the example for other players on your team and not giving up, right? We could have hacked it in and said, wow, look at what we have to do, right? A lot of teams would have maybe hit the wall after 3 games. Really, seriously, Think about it. I've not heard of a schedule like that. As long as I've been around basketball, which is 50 years, I've not heard of a schedule of a team having to play 6 games in 6 nights ever. I've not heard that. Coach, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how you ascended to your position at Hot Springs when we come back after these messages on the Sports Desk.
Another reason. What a scoop shot by Lamar Rogers. That's going to be on someone's top 10, believe me.
Luna almost strips it away. Perea is there, and the feed to Rogers, the finish underneath. Strips Luna with it in transition. King with the big block off the board.
Kaplan puts it on the deck, goes through contact, great pass inside to Rogers. Rogers scores easy. 8 points.
And a steal. And a steal.
Corner three for Perea's up. It's good.
Oh, he got it.
Perea has 4 threes for 16 points in the first half.
Good ball movement. Watson gets it in right-handed and makes it. Jaded ideas.
Oh, great pass to Rogers. Reverse layup is up and good. Another highlight move by Lamar Rogers.
He's just a guard right now. He's not a...
Between the legs, loses Parham, fires a straightaway 3. It's good. John Johnson has it going from all ends of the floor. Look at the Sandia bench.
With kids, it's just...
Oh, here comes the pass. Let's see if King tries to...
Oh, yes,
and he
he
does.
did.
Puts it down on the one-hand jam. What an outlet pass from Master Taplin. They get it into Barella. 10 seconds left. Barella double team. Someone's got to be open to Valencia with 6 seconds left. 5 seconds left, 3 seconds left. Valencia spin cycle, puts it up for the win, scores, it's over. El Dorado wins 39-37. What a job, or what a shot by Haley Valencia. Took the ball in the right wing with 3 seconds left, drove to the basket, and El Dorado wins 39-37. Haley Valencia will be our Jackson Compaction Player of the Game. We'll be back for an interview with Haley Valencia after these messages. You're watching ProView Network.
Here's Savic, 10 seconds left. All by herself is Jersey Jones. Jones loses control. Jones kicks it out. Love, Ottman for the game. Ottman at the buzzer. La Cueva wins 64-61, avenging their only loss of the season.
Also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with producer Alden Iwani. Our special guest today is Hot Springs head coach Derek Bean. The champs are here, baby. The champ is here. A victory, I got to tell you that, coach, because, you know, the champs, anytime anybody hoists that blue trophy, I get excited. I love to see kids compete at that amateur level. And like I told you, I had the best seat in the house. And we'll get to that game against Navajo Prep, the champion against Sandia Prep, winning 45-43 in a classic game. That's a classic game that we'll never forget. Courtesy of Alden Iwani, our producer, we're going to look at some highlights now from Thursday's game. Go ahead, Alden. Can you see those, Coach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you tell us what we're seeing.
Seeing Lukeman going to the hoop. We had Sam Henderson. Had my boy Gossett stepping up. What a day for him to step up. You know, Lukeman, that's just like we said, you know, that's his thing. He's deceivingly quick. Panilli's slipping through the backside. Henderson, man, what a tough kid. You know, you guys say it all along. Kid he's special. It's a good group.
Very good group.
You know, Salcido, probably one of our best finishers at the rim as a guard. You know, again, Henderson getting loose. I think Salcido did a really good job of channeling him up. Panilli, you know, he really was trying to get her, couldn't really get a rhythm going. And then going back to Gossett, you know, how big was he? Little fireball.
Yeah, he really is.
Right there. You know, that moment right there, I think could have gone real south for us. But my boys showed their maturity, not getting rattled by a Henderson dunk, just staying the course.
How good is Sam Henderson?
He's tough. You know, I mean, you can't coach height. Height is key. And, you know, he's a great kid, very respectful, hard worker.
There's that shot at the end
That
there.
shot right there,
Here's the
man.
drive.
It was,
Here's the drive. And there's the contact. Go ahead, Coach.
You know, what a way to finish. You know, talk about a roller coaster of emotions. You know, one side of it, they're thinking, we did it. We're finally going to get the monkey out the back. Then we turn around and just take it from them and just finish our fairy tale story yet again of the mighty mites come through. You know, David slayed Goliath, and here we are again with our second title. You see, you know, there's a lot of coaches that never coach a lot of years and never even get an opportunity to be here. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I've played for 2 now, and how lucky am I? How blessed am I? You know, what an experience. Like you said, I growing up, I've always gone to the state tournament, sat over there, watched the games, and every year for at the end of the tournament for at least a week, I always go home having dreams of what would my reaction be if I got to do that? What would my reaction be? And it was always different, always different. Let me tell you, these last 2, nowhere near what my dreams were.
Right. You really you can't predict, right? But that adrenaline, I still get it. Like I said, even when I go on the floor, when I told you, I've spent a lot of time in different areas of basketball. So going down to talk to that time that you had the 18 championship, you won in 18. Was it 18 or 19?
19.
My son and I went and talked to you on the floor. And man, by the time I got back to the booth, I was ready. Let's go. That doesn't go. It doesn't go away because you're not playing anymore. It never goes away, right?
Sure.
But again, congratulations. What a great moment for the Hot Springs Tigers. You did a great job. You're fantastic. Coach, I got to tell you this. You're a fantastic leader, right? Now, you might say we were lucky, we're blessed, and you are, but it's got to come from somewhere. We just don't roll the balls out there. It's a program. We're building that program. Respect to your program, respect to you as a leader of that program. You got great assistants, great community. You mentioned I saw your athletic director last week, and she seemed like she was very involved, she's making sure you're okay. I thought that was great. I saw that.
No, she's great. She worked her tail off. Community members, I mean, what a huge amount of support. My staff, my staff is killer. These guys, they give me everything that I can ever ask for. You know, I got volunteers, I got paid guys, and they all do their thing. Nobody's above this program. And I mean, you and everybody else knows it starts with kids. You know, I've got a great group of boys that believe in what I have to say, and I love them to death. They do everything that I ask, and they give me everything that I've ever wanted out of them.
You mentioned the other day to me, we were talking basketball like we always do whenever we see each other, but you mentioned the mental part. You said about the player, hey, he gets it here, right? And it's an emotional game. Our emotions sometimes, and I know mine did. When I played, I was that guy, man. I was that guy, right? And I had to rein it in, right? And it's funny because I became a referee and I coached for a while. One of my friends would say, "You're a referee. You were the worst one there was," and I was. But I had to learn, right? I had to learn this time. I'm mediating conflicts, right? I'm saying, okay, we got to stop. I had to learn. There's so many things I had to learn when I was an official. And I think having won 2 championships, you're 30 now?
34.
34. So you're 34. You've got 2 championships already under your belt. But I wanted to talk about your ascension. You were started out as a C-team coach back in 2009 under Trampus Pearson. Everybody remembers Coach Pearson. You know, he was the head coach for a while, and he did a good job over there. You got promoted to JV in 2012, offered your first coaching job, head coaching job at 23. Now, you had some rough spots there, and you went through some rough spots. You did mention you were hired to coach basketball in Australia during the summer, and you mentioned what a great experience that was. Talk a little bit about that and how you got to where you are now.
You know, it was mentors, ton of mentors. You know, Trampus Pearson starting it off, coming to me as just a young guy. I'd known Trampus my whole life growing up, and he said, "Bean, what do you think about coming and coaching?" Well, yeah, I love sports. Let's do it. And it just, the bug got me from there. And it just, anything that I ever do, I want to be the best at. And that's kind of one thing that I always teach my kids is, if you're going to do it, be the best at it. Otherwise, why do it at all? And, you know, as the journey went on, like you said, I hit some rough spots, but it was a lot of growing, a lot of maturity. You know, I was a young guy coming in, learning, but I had great mentors. You know, there was Pete Schock from Cliff, who reached out to me, would talk to me, Sam Alney, who, you know, his son and a longtime coach here, Royce Alney coming through, Walt Sanchez, you know, another great young coach who is now an amazing official as well. Ben Trujillo, you know, the list goes on. There are just so many coaches that I could reach out to and just learn from them, you know, try to learn from my mistakes and learn how did they get there? And then, you know, the opportunity to go to Australia was amazing. You know, those were 3 great years. I've met some great coaches who I keep in contact with still to this day, and we bounce ideas off of each other, and we're from all over the place. You know, I got coaches from Florida. I got friends in Australia. I've got, you know, just coaches everywhere that you connect, and it's a fraternity, and we just got to grow together realistically.
You mentioned some great mentors. Walt Sanchez, the former coach at Magdalena, also played at Hyden High School. I went to school with a lot of his family here in Albuquerque, and just a great mentor. You mentioned Coach Trujillo. I saw him at the state tournament, and you know he just recently went through a tragedy with his wife. That was so sad to hear that, but he was out there coaching as hard as he could. And I think you're right about the fraternity. I'm sure whenever you talk to your mentors, you bounce ideas off of them. Still, there's still things we can learn, right? Coaching is an ever-ending chain of information that people share. Different plays we run, different ways to score, different ways to defend, so many different things. And it sounds to me like you've built up a very good support system as far as the coaching fraternity goes.
Well, it's like I said, I want to be the best. You know, I don't show up to lose. I don't show up to be mediocre. And if you want to be the best, you got to surround yourself with some of the best people. And that's how I shape my team, how I shape my program, how I shape my staff, how I shape my life is, you know, to be the best, you got to act like you are, represent yourself to the highest level that you possibly can, and continue to learn. You know, always have an open mind, and you're never going to know it all. No matter what you're doing, there's always somebody out there that's bigger, better, knows a little bit more, and just be open to learning.
No, I think I think you hit the nail on the head for sure, because there's always somebody you can learn from, and you will learn from, and you do learn from. You've got an open mind. You don't act like, hey, I've won 2 championships, I know it all. That's when the learning stops, right? The minute that we think that, then our progress stops right there as a program. And it's different in building a program. We talked about that, and going 20-5 one season, and 5-18, 6-12. You're building a program, consistent winner. I wanted to ask you about your defensive message to your team, because you said you held opponents to 39 points a game. So I kind of want to ask you, what was your defensive message to your team? Again, that game against Navajo Prep at Bernalillo might have been as physical a game as I've ever seen in a long time for a high school game, as was the Espanola Del Norte semifinal up at Del Norte last week. Man, the officials pretty much let them play. So talk about your message to your team defensively.
Well, it's simple. You know, you can't beat somebody if you can't stop them. You know, I think we're getting into a world of everybody wants to see scoring, right? Everybody loves offense. You know, they love to see Steph Curry go off and hit a bazillion threes. But that's all fine and dandy. But what if those aren't going? For example, what was happening to us on Friday? We weren't getting the shots to fall. Well, we had to go stop somebody. You had to stop a 6'6" kid who's scoring a bazillion points every night in order. That's what separated us from a blue or a red. And we just kind of hang our hat on defense. And defense is what is our mindset, because a good defense or a great defense will create a good offense.
It absolutely did. And you mentioned a player with height, and Sam Henderson. He not only has height, he's got skill.
Yeah,
he's got skill. He can play at the next level. I don't know if he's signed yet. I'm sure he's going to play at the next level, because again, he's got the dribbling ability. He's got a nice high release. He's very, very skilled.
He's
and
smooth.
It's hard. You're right. And they hit that Jackson Fight, hit that shot, and you're thinking, right? 7.7 seconds left. We got a minute left, Coach. And I wanted to ask you again, what's next for the Tigers? You didn't get to do a lot of development last summer. You're getting a summer's worth of work now. What's next for the Hot Spring Tigers?
Well, I mean, I think everybody in the state knows we graduate some key players, but you know, we got some good young guys down here that are hungry. They've really latched on to what our seniors' work ethic looks like, and you know, we're gonna get back to work, and we're gonna do everything that we can to try to defend and get back to the big game, and make sure that we stay relevant. You know, just be humble. Again, like I said, trust the process, put we over me, and fall in love with defense.
It's a different summer, because again, what a year, Coach. A year unlike any other that we've ever seen, not just in sports and everything, the world, right? It's just a different school. The pandemic affected so many things, but through it all, your Tigers are champs again. You got to feel good about that, man.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world, you know, to see my kids walk off the floor in their career smiling. And, you know, it just warms my heart as a head coach. And I'm excited to see what the next adventure looks like.
Coach Derek Bean, Hot Springs Tigers 3A champs. Thank you so much for being our guest, sir. We sure enjoyed it.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it, guys.
You bet. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll be back in 2 weeks on the Sports Desk.